Hi guys, today we're going to look at a number of features to create a lesson using the Activity Builder in Smart Notebook. We're going to look at Infinite Cloner as well, grouping objects, text, images, and things like that. So to get going, the first thing we want to do is create the page itself before we go into Activity Builder. So for this activity, I'm going to start with putting a rectangle in the middle of my page, which will eventually be the place where I want the objects to be brought to. I'm going to select my Shapes tool and just simply click and drag. You can be a lot more precise with sizes and centering and things like that when you are doing this. I'm just going to do it quick for purposes of this tutorial. Always remember when you want to move the object to go back to your arrow, and then you can move your object around the page. Next thing I want to do is add some squares to the bottom of the page where I'm going to put the pictures and text that will be part of the activity. So to do this, I can simply select my square, click and drag, go back to my arrow, select the square, and then for my drop-down menu I can select Infinite Cloner. That will allow me to make as many squares as I want of the same size for purposes of this activity. To clone it, I simply click, drag, go back to the original, click, drag, and I can do that as many times as I want. Again, for purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to make 3 choices down here so you can just see how it works. You can customize it as much as you want when you do the lesson for yourself. Now what I want to do is add pictures and text into these squares down here. These will be choices that the students can make for this activity. Now I can find images in the picture frame in Smart Notebook, or I can also get them from the internet. To do this activity, I'm just going to use pictures in Smart Notebook so you can see how that's done. This activity is going to be sorting vegetables or fruits. So I'm going to find a couple pictures of those. Let's start with apple. Now you'll notice some folders come up down here in tabs. I want to go into pictures. I want to click and drag that to my page. Let's get all the pictures first, and then I'll show you how to fit them in the boxes and group them together. Let's take a carrot. Same thing, open pictures, click, drag, and let's take banana. Open it, click, drag, and there's your pictures. Now, with these pictures, obviously they are way too big for these boxes. Make sure you're on your arrow tool up top, click, take the bottom right of the box, and you can change the size of it by just clicking and dragging from the bottom. Once it's the size you want, you can fit it right inside your box just like that. Do the same thing for the apple. Again, I'm doing this quickly. You can take more time or less to center them and make them look more attractive for the lesson. I'm just doing it quick to show you how to use the tools. And the last one, click, drag, and put it in there. Now I can also add text to these boxes by selecting the A, and then anywhere on the page, clicking. Up here I can change the size of the type, which is important here because you want it to eventually fit inside this box. So I'm going to select 12, and then you can type banana. Again, it's important here to go back to the arrow, select your text, and drag it right into the box. You can do this again for the next 2. Go back to the arrow and drag it into the box. Now I'm not going to do it for carrots because you do get the idea. What I want to show you now is right now if I was to try to move this, everything's going to move separate because it's not grouped together. What I want to do is make sure all this is grouped so when the students move it, it goes as one unit. So I want to make sure I'm on my arrow, click right around the outside of the where you want to group everything and drag, and that selects everything. Once everything is selected, you can click on one of the drop downs and group the objects together. Now this will move as one unit. So make sure you're on your arrow, click outside, drag. Now you'll notice three things are being grouped here: the original square, the picture, and the word, because you want all that to be grouped together. Okay? Finally, the thing you have to do here before you group this one is you have to turn off Infinite Cloner, because it will not group together if you have Infinite Cloner selected. Click and drag. You'll notice the word, the picture, and the box are all selected. And group those together just like that. So now you have three pictures, word, boxes that move as one because you put the picture, the word, and you grouped everything together. Okay? What I want to do now is add some directions to the page, and then we'll use Activity Builder to make the activity. Go back and select your text. Again, I'm going to do this quick. You could play with colors, sizes, shapes, anything you want with the font when you create this. I'm going to select 20. I'm going to click up here. I'm going to say, directions. Please put the fruits inside the large rectangle. Now what I want to do here is, you don't have to, but it's helpful in the activity, is these directions I'm never going to move or want to be moved on the page. So I'm going to select the arrow and lock it in. Go back to that. I want to select the arrow and I want to lock it in place. That way if a student accidentally hits it with their finger, it's not going to go anywhere. And you know, I can do the same thing for this rectangle as well, because you don't want the rectangle to be moving all over the page while the students are doing the activity. So I'm going to lock that in place as well. Alright, so you have your activity here. Please put the fruits inside the large rectangle. Okay, and you could simply keep this activity like this and have the students do it like that. But if you want to add some interactivity to it, you can use the built-in Activity Builder. And you get to Activity Builder by selecting the puzzle piece on the left side of the page. It's on the left side of my page. And select Activity Builder. Now what you want to do is select the object on the page where you're going to drag the images to, which for me it's the large rectangle. So I'm going to select it. You know, I might have to unlock it first. I'm going to select it, go to Edit in Activity Builder, and now it's telling me over here, in order to make the activity, I need to put the objects in this box that I want the rectangle to accept, or the right answers, and I want to put the objects in here that will be the wrong answers. Okay? So to do that, I simply click and drag. It's just going to put an image of these in here. It's not putting the actual one from my page. So you'll notice banana went in here because that's a right answer for this activity. Do the same thing for apple. And carrots I'm going to put down here because that's a wrong answer. I could click Add All Remaining if I had a lot of things on my page. That way you don't have to click all the ones down here one by one by one. Okay. So what I did was make the activity. This is what it would look like if everything was correct. You want the fruits to be accepted into here. You want the vegetables to be rejected. Now settings is a nice thing you want to go into because you can decide what you want the animation to be. So if it's a correct answer, I like the spin, but you can choose a number of different animations. So if it's accepted, it's going to spin inside this box. If there was sound, you could also play the object sound if you attached somebody saying banana to that. If it's rejected, I want it to bounce back. Again, you could select sound here if you want to, if you had sounds attached to these objects, or your voice, or whatever it may be. When you're done, simply click Done, and you should be ready to go. So now I have an activity that says please put the fruits inside the large rectangle. You'll notice banana is a correct answer. Same with apple. Carrots is incorrect, so it bounces back. So this is a nice activity that students can do that is interactive. You could customize it more if you want to, or even less if you want to, but using the Activity Builder, it does create some interactivity. Remember, when you're done with a lesson, you could print it and you could keep it as a worksheet for the student's portfolio or whatever you're collecting for them. So you just saw how to make an activity using text, shapes, infinite cloner, pictures, grouping, and a couple different features, and ultimately we created the activity using the activity builder. I hope this was a helpful tutorial. Thanks for watching.